Now, is it effective? Well, I think it is effective. I was in a hairdresser's the other day, and they'd watched such a program, and they were spitting poison at these people. All right? And the other hairdresser who hadn't seen the series couldn't get home to go and wait to get home to go and watch it. You go on Channel 5's website and just look at the comments from people who have watched that documentary, spitting poison at these people. And just look at this Sun headline from a week ago. It says, benefits made me 23 stone. Warning, this story will make your blood boil. This is Soviet subversion techniques on the front page of Great Britain's best-selling newspaper. Anyone need any spare toilet paper? Okay. And it affects everyone. Here's a tweet from Theo Chalmers, who says the oldest benefit scrounger in the country, still without his first job, is about to become a grandfather. And it's not just benefits. They've singled off other groups as well. Take your pick, immigrants or ethnic minorities, what have you. Now, I mentioned family as well because it says create breakup in families to create loyalty to the state. Well, if we represent families by these coloured bricks, we've got a father and a mother and children. If you're going to get your chisel into that wall and fracture society, fracture families, there's two ways you can do it. You can do it that way, make relationships fail. I don't think anyone in this audience would disagree that there are more divorces and relationship breakups than ever. And the question I would ask, is that by accident or is it by design? Ask yourself that question. I'm going to list some factors which I think maybe not cause this, but influence it. Influence the breakup of relationships, fracture society, keep us all chasing our tails. How about the benefit system? If you've got someone who's on benefits who meets someone with a job who isn't on benefits and they want to live together, they will take benefits away from the person who was on benefits. So in other words, it's rewarding people for living apart. The influence of television, in particular soap operas, like having an open sewer in your living room. Media personality worship, making people desire the lifestyle of a celebrity, thus putting pressure on their relationship. Materialism, making people worship money, thus putting pressure on a relationship. Habitual use of social media. Now this is a controversial one. I happen to think that going on Facebook is a bit like going into a nightclub. Now the question is, has it been designed deliberately like that, or has Facebook, what Facebook has become, is it just an accident, or is there some kind of social engineering manipulation behind Facebook? And here's a cartoon which illustrates my point. The woman is saying to her husband who's on his phone on Facebook, and she's saying, do you mind if I strap your phone to my forehead so I can pretend you're looking at me when I talk? And you know, who knows if someone who's had a relationship breakup because of something that's happened on Facebook. The promotion of hedonism, this idea which is promoted by a lot of mainstream TV programs, that the only reason why you were put on this planet is so that you can pursue pleasure. And manufactured music. If you don't think the shit young people listen to affects their relationship, you need to do some research. Okay, now there's another way you can fracture families, obviously, and this is from an engineer's point of view. I'm just looking at it as logically as I can. You can do it that way. Take children off their natural parents. And this is not really an area that I've covered on the TV show. Other people have covered it. The UK column has exposed a lot of dodgy practices in taking children off natural parents. But as I say, it's not one of my areas of expertise, but I'm just going to list some factors which might be influencing what's going on here. Social services. Now, there are a lot of very good social workers, but I was speaking to one the other day, and they told me that the culture within social work is vastly different to what it was 30 years ago. That there's a culture of almost walking on eggshells, trying to spot signs of abuse and act on it very quickly in case to prevent things such as baby P, which is blown up in the media. Targets. Someone told me that they actually have fostering targets. I don't know if that's true. corrupt psychiatrists and psychologists, because these are the supposed experts who will produce reports that get children removed from their natural parents. And the family courts, which are run in complete secret. So how can you have independent scrutiny and know what's going on in a court is fair if it's being done in secret? And a culture of political correctness, but feel free to add your own. Okay, so what happens if you are successful in these subversion techniques? What happens to the wall of society? Well, it ends up like that, and it ends up so it can't function as a wall. A society can't function and cannot oppose an oppressive regime. I think we've got an oppressive regime in this country, but I don't think it's being orchestrated by MPs. I think they are a punch and judy show for the consumption of the masses, and the real power lies beyond them in the civil service, in the intelligence agencies, in the monarchy. And I think that there are moves to do this, to make sure that society cannot oppose the decisions that are going on behind the scenes. Okay, let's look at our map again. And I mentioned North Africa because it appears that some of these countries down here are maybe next on the list for regime change. And the map at the bottom there, the green represents countries which are predominantly Muslim countries. We can see that all of the countries that have had regime change are Muslim. And I just want to point one thing out about Muslim countries, and that is, if you've ever been to one, you'll realise that their laws very much reflect their religious laws, and they go to mosques very regularly, and they pay very close attention to their religious laws. Right? Now, I'm not saying whether that is right or wrong. I'm just saying that they do. Right? They're very, very conscientious about following their religious law. And I think that that means that Muslim countries, the subversion techniques that I've just explained, probably would not be effective in those types of countries. They would just reject the kind of things that we are getting sucked into the West. Right? So a lot of people say that the reason why these regions have been targeted is because of oil and natural resources. I think that's probably true, but I think there's also an ideological battle going on here, so that once this area is changed, it can then be subverted. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm wanting viewers of shit TV programmes to help to create a league table of the most subversive shows on television. If you want to suggest a TV show that you think is being disgracefully manipulative, please go to this link on the internet where you can post your suggestion. And don't forget to explain why the show is subversive. I'll be waiting to read your responses. Now here's Tony Bennett talking about police corruption.
A story resurfaced in the national press, which was something I'd always followed, and the background, and this has really kind of shaped my life over the last 8 years, is that in January 2006 it was announced that Michael Barrymore would appear on Celebrity Big Brother. And at this time, 2006, Stuart Lubbock had been dead for 5 years. He was killed on the 1st of April 2001, and this was quite clearly an attempt by the powers that be, by the media, by the celebrity establishment, to rehabilitate Michael Barrymore.
And just for those who don't know, he died in Michael Barrymore's house, is that right?
Well, he was killed at Michael Barrymore's mansion in Roydon near Harlow.
Right.
And one of my key reasons for being interested in the case was this happened on my doorstep here in Roydon, the next village, and the father is a Harlow resident, as I have been for the last 35 years. And every time this story was in the newspaper, I knew that the story was wrong. The idea that he just drowned in the pool was wrong. I kind of knew it instinctively. And Terry Lubbock was kind of appealing for help and what have you, and not getting anywhere. He was clearly unhappy with the story, and when Celebrity Big Brother came on, I thought I must do something. I must offer this bloke help. I didn't know quite what I could do, but obviously having a legal training and being interested in miscarriages of justice, I wrote to Terry Lubbock and said, look, I don't know, maybe I can help you with this. To cut a long story short, we met shortly afterwards. He replied to me, and then what I decided to do was, I suppose it was a form of direct action in a way. I had a quick look through the main material which Terry Lubbock had got from the inquest. So he got, you know, a huge amount of paperwork from the inquest, and it is quite clear, absolutely clear from that Barrymore was supplying drugs on that evening.
Right.
But he'd never been prosecuted for it.
Right.
So what I did was I developed an application for a summons, like a private prosecution, alleging that Michael Barrymore had supplied drugs and was using his house that evening as, you know, for the consumption of drugs, which is two offences in one: supplying drugs and allowing your house to be used for the abuse of drugs. And I put in an application to the magistrate's court, and the court replied by organising a hearing at Epping Magistrates Court.
Right.
You know, a gift, really a gift. So I just put that out to the media, and we had a media circus outside Epping Magistrates Court here near Harlow. The media descended on this hearing, and there was one of these old judges, sort of about 70 years and old, and you know, concerned to apply the law correctly, and he peered over his glasses and said, "Well, I think Mr. Bennett, I understand that Michael Barrymore is currently in the Big Brother studio. Is that right?" You know, and I said, "Well, yes. Well, I think you need to make him aware of these proceedings." He said, "What you need to do is you need to serve this summons on Michael Barrymore personally at the Big Brother studios."
Right.